Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. With me is Molly Tilden. Now, Molly was here once before, and she's here for a follow-up, right?
Yeah,
So welcome back.
thank you so much for having me.
So now, the first time you were here, you were talking about a fundraiser for the Wildlife Protection Club. Before we get into the fundraiser, just remind people about the club, the Wildlife Protection Club, like when and how it got started.
Okay, yeah, so the Wildlife Protection Club is the university club with UFB. It was started by Sasha Tuttle in 2018, I believe, and it's basically just a group of students that really care about wildlife in the Fraser Valley, are looking ways to get involved and that they can like actively help in the community with sort of the biodiversity crisis that we're facing right now.
Yeah, so we're talking about little critters, right?
Yeah,
Like,
mostly, yeah, like snails, amphibians,
right.
birds, owls, that kind of thing. But there is opportunity to also like engage with like bigger creatures as
Sure.
well. And yeah,
Sure.
it's a bit broad.
Yeah, okay. So for those of you who don't live in BC, UFV is the University of Fraser Valley. And so that's a really great event. Now, I don't know how the fundraiser idea came about, but it was your idea, was it?
Yeah, it was like sort of my idea to start. Originally, I had just wanted to do a couple paintings and sort of like sell them on Facebook as and then raise maybe a couple $100 and donate that.
Mhm.
But then my club was everyone was so into it, it just kind of like evolved and became like a whole event where it was going to be like community donations and an art show and an online silent auction, and it kind of just like took on a life of its own.
Yeah, yeah. So how did it go?
It was amazing. Like it was way more successful than we thought it was going to be. We raised, I think it was about $4,300.
Nice.
Yeah, that was not what we were expecting at all. We had 40 donated pieces of art, which were beautiful. Some of them were yours and your
Yeah.
sisters, which were amazing. And then the nicest thing about the event was it really brought together people from like different backgrounds.
Sure,
So
yeah.
it wasn't just like your typical kind of like environmental type people, I would say. It was like physics students, it was like artists, it was like students from like marketing, it was like just people from all over the campus and the community. A lot of people from the community came that must have just seen about it on social media or like through our kind of marketing campaign we
Yeah,
did,
right.
which was like we definitely tried to market a lot and it was successful. So that was really reassuring and just
Yeah,
like
nice.
wonderful to see.
So do you plan on doing it again next year?
I will be graduating in December.
Oh, you
So
are?
yeah, I'll be stepping away from the club, sadly. But I'm hoping that the club will do it again next year because there was a lot of interest from the artists.
Right,
And
yeah.
some people said they would donate again, and other people were like, oh, I didn't get a chance to make something, but I would definitely do it next year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential there.
Hopefully somebody will pick up the reins and continue it, right?
I hope so. Yeah.
So now, my understanding is, well, I know because you were looking for artwork that had to do with nature in some form, right?
Yeah, it was like sort of nature themed, wildlife themed preferred, but anything that just shows your appreciation for nature because wildlife obviously couldn't exist without the plants and
Yes.
just like the beautiful landscapes as well. So yeah, it was a bit anything really.
Now, I know you had at least one piece of artwork from an artist who had been, his work was at the O'Connell Art Gallery, right, on display there. And then I know at least one Indigenous person who donated. I don't know, did you have
We had
others?
a couple, yeah, we did. We had a couple prints from a Stalo artist that were donated by, it was one of Sasha's relatives.
Oh, nice.
Which were beautiful. I actually bought one of them.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then we had the beautiful carving by your friend Stephen Charlie.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was beautiful. His work was
so
beautiful.
pretty, and the person that bought that was just like in love with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we also had there was a really beautiful painting of an eagle head by a woman named Adele Fusi, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but she's a Cree artist, and she has won like awards, and she's very accomplished.
Isn't that wonderful when people are so generous, whether they've made a name for themselves or they're just like me, like a dabbler? I just think it's wonderful, especially for those who've made names for themselves.
Yeah, it was definitely like blew us away, like some of the generosity. There was also Gary Harquist. I don't know if you've heard
Yes,
of him.
yeah, I've
He's very
interviewed him
talented.
actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he did a really nice print, and just like their generosity was really touching. And then also it was nice that as well, like amateur artists also participated.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it made the event really inclusive. Because people kind of went around, they go, wow, like I love this, it's beautiful, but I also feel like, oh, this maybe this is something I could do, or like maybe I could try making some nature themed art, and people were definitely feeling like inspired at
Right.
the event.
It was kind of interesting, kind of fun with my sister Marie, because when you after you said you want to come over and drop off the paintings that didn't sell, right? And it was a couple of my pieces that had nothing to do with nature. So, but Marie was thinking she has to bring a bag for all the paintings that were returned, but hers all went, right?
People loved both of your paintings. Like people were talking about them. Like, this is so creative, like so out of the box. Because I think sometimes people, when they make art, get a little bit stuck. Like, it has to be
Yeah.
realistic, or it has to be. But your guys' art has so much like emotion in it, and just like feeling and fun. And I think people really resonated with that.
That's because we're kids at heart, people. Trust me, we really are. I'm sort of in the way to hear that you're stepping your way, but I understand you're graduating.
Yeah.
Are you going back to the Yukon?
I'm from the Northwest Territories,
sorry,
actually, but that's
Northwest
okay. Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm definitely going to apply for jobs in BC. There might be an opportunity in Yellowknife for a job, but I'm sort of just going to cast a broad net and see what I get.
Right. Well, while you're here, may as well ask you what are you taking in university?
I'm a double major in biology and in kinesiology. So
Okay, explain to me kinesiology.
Kinesiology is a human health field, essentially looking at exercise and like preventative kind of nutrition and how people can kind of maintain healthy bodies. And then my biology side is sort of looking more at like the conservation side of ecology and biology of organisms. And I kind of feel like they tie nicely together with, the health of the earth and the health of our bodies are really two sides of the same coin. So
true, that it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Getting back to the club, one of the things that they've done is that the toads in Ryder Lake, I used to live up there, so I know when they were migrating across the road, you couldn't avoid them, right? So what was something that was done?
So the Fraser Valley Conservancy, who all the proceeds of the art show went to, they actually worked on building a tunnel under that road. So now the toads can not only go under the tunnel, but they also built a permanent fence around the wetland, which will like funnel the toads into the tunnel.
Right.
And every year they take photos and they count how many toads go through that tunnel, and they monitor the success and how many little lives were saved.
Oh, that's so cool, isn't it?
So cute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that, because I mean, there is another road you could take, but you wouldn't know that unless you lived up there.
And they do a detour during like the busiest migration time, but there's always amphibians crossing that road whenever it rains, basically, not just during the migration. So the tunnel helps. Also, other animals use the tunnel, like bears have been seen to use the tunnel. I think one at least. And then I've seen like possums and like raccoons and all sorts of little critters going through
they're not dumb, right? They don't want to get run over.
Definitely not.
So now, if you were, let's just say you were into it again for next year, that you weren't graduating, would you keep it like the same type of thing, or would you broaden it?
That's a good question. I think it was really successful what we did. The space we used was kind of perfect with the amount of art that was donated, which was really lucky because we weren't sure if we would get like too much art and not be able to fit it, or like too little and it looked very sparse. So I think next time if they choose to do it, they might have to do like a cap on how much art to get. And then I don't know, things to change about it. Honestly, it was perfect. I think they should just recreate the exact same thing. And then maybe just like more marketing, because that could be the only thing I could think could be improved.
Yeah, for sure. Now, did any of the artists put their own price on, or did you guys decide that?
Some artists did put their own prices on. We had like the choice, and then for those that didn't know maybe what their art was worth, we had a UFE alumni art student who signed all the starting bid amounts for the silent auction, and his name was Tommy. He did a really great job because everything sold, and that was kind of his point, was like, it was interesting, the things that were kind of like low initial bid, some of them went up like super high, whereas the ones that were a bit of a higher starting bid, people almost seemed like intimidated to start bidding on it. Whereas if it started at like 10, and then like the people start getting competitive when they're like, oh, 10, 20, 15, and they get invested, and then it goes all the way up to like 300. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have more room to negotiate with
Yeah.
a lower bid,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That makes sense. And as you said, the goal is to sell them, not to not sell them.
Exactly. I did not want to return any art like that. Yeah, that's not fun.
Oh, that is so cool, though. I think it's just so wonderful. I'm really, really pleased for you and for the club that it went so well, and for Sasha. I mean, she must have
Yeah.
been so pleased.
Yeah,
right?
sadly Sasha couldn't come, but she sent Chandler was another old club member who's graduated, and he came, and she had a piece in the show and everything. And
Oh, she did,
she
yeah.
was really supportive throughout like the planning process, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know that she was the one that started the club until you
Yeah.
told me. So I'm gonna have to have her. I've interviewed her once a long time ago, but
You should.
yeah, she's gonna have to come back on the
She's
show.
doing some cool research with pollinators at SFU, I believe, or maybe it's UBC. Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
that would
isn't
be an
it?
interesting conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So now, okay, so I'm wanting to switch around all the
That's
time, you know,
okay.
like you were studying biology. So who
Yeah.
was your professor?
Well, I've had quite a few. Right now, I'm taking a plant biology course with Alan Reed. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a really fun guy. He's an amazing botanist and has traveled all over the world looking at rare plants and things. I've worked with Gregory Schmaltz. He's the department head of biology. I did a project about herons with him this summer,
Okay.
mapping at the heron reserve, watching how their colony has shifted
Mm.
in response to like eagle nests.
Yeah.
I've also had just like a variety. I haven't had Karen Bondar.
No,
I've
you haven't,
seen you
eh?
interview her, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have taken a class with her. She seems very cool.
Yeah, she's my friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is cool. As you know,
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping in a way that you had, because then
I
I could
know.
say, well, what's she like as a teacher?
I'm sure she's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're just you know, I happened to meet her through a friend, and I told her when she's on the show, like when she first came, I love saying the fact that I have a friend who's a doctor.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that's what it is. It's just
Yeah.
you have to have doctorate, and I think that's kind of fun, you
It
know.
is cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought it would give me a little bit more credence for
Yeah,
the show.
it
So that's
does.
the
Yeah, you have
idea.
a doctor friend. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm just really, really pleased that it went so well for you, and I hope they do follow through next year. And as you said, you know, if it worked, when something works, like if it's not broken,
Yeah.
don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. And I think it'll be a lot easier to do it again, because we already have the contacts with the artists. We already know the venue works.
Yeah.
We know, like, we have a bit of like a roadmap of how it would be done. So it would be like a lot less work to do it a second time.
All right. Now I know my sister and I were invited to go the
Yeah.
night of, but we're not good socially. Well, we are okay when we're okay when we're together, but we tend to misbehave in a way.
I think that would have been really fun. And next time you should come, because it was definitely a cool laid back vibe with like a mishmash of people, and I think you guys would have had a really good time.
We probably would have, you know, but
Yeah.
it just takes us a while. And as I said, you know, we kind of I'm not explaining it in a way, kind of almost get into that entertainment mode
Yeah.
and a fun, you know, like one time I was at the hospital, my sister came with me, and I was waiting in the emergency. And so we start talking about, well, we know about, we know about acid, and we're talking about acid from a battery, because
Okay.
first time I heard about somebody dropping acid, I didn't know what it was about.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so we're going on pretending like we don't know these things. And pot, well, yeah, I have pot for my plants. Like, and we're loud.
Yeah.
Because that's how we talk. We're a large family, so
Yeah.
we always spoke loudly,
Yeah.
you know, right?
I'm sure
So,
people were loving that.
well, I don't know, but they're all kind of, you know, pretend like we're acting like we're old and we don't know these things, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny.
You're
but
playing it up.
yeah, so that's the type of thing, you know, that we do when we're in, especially if we're in a situation where we're uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, it was definitely when I had to talk at the end of the art show and just be like, hey everyone, we raised this amount of money, and I was so excited because it had gone so well. But then all of a sudden all these people were staring at me, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to say now. And then someone videoed it. I'm like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing, is
Yeah.
watching yourself afterwards, right? I mean, I do it all the time, and I'll tell myself, Nancy, don't laugh on camera. Nancy, don't put your head up, or, you know, stuff
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And I interviewed somebody just recently, and they said they can't watch it. And I said, I get that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you don't have to
Makes
watch
them
yourself.
self-conscious. Yeah, I can see that
for sure. Well, I'm just going to end it here, because I just want to know how
Yeah.
well you did, and wanted people to know about it. And I think I just want to add that because of our environment situation, is so important now
Yeah.
to get involved as much as we can.
Yeah.
You know, because Canada's not doing so great on with what it said it's gonna do, but
No.
we're the 8th worst. I find that so depressing, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be depressed because
Me
I
either.
don't do well in
No
depression.
one wants to be depressed.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it's hard.
So
Can I make a little plug for an event we're having?
please,
Yeah.
yes.
On that note, so Nature Canada contacted our club about maybe coordinating an event on November 30th in Chilliwack or Abbotsford. So we're not totally sure where exactly it will be yet. But they're basically having a cross-country bus tour and letter writing campaign, connecting with different conservation groups, and then getting letters written about why biodiversity is so important and needs to be protected, which they're going to deliver to Justin Trudeau in Montreal at the biodiversity conference, which is kind of like the nature version of COP. And then they're going to give those to him and basically try and initiate some sort of action in protecting our wild spaces. So we're hoping to do a film screening of Toad People. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No.
It's a short documentary that was made in Chilliwack, and it's about the toads at Ryder Lake, as well as other initiatives across BC to protect amphibians, and as well just like other species at risk. It's about a 26-minute documentary. It's gonna be free, and we might have a guest speaker as well. There'll be like food and some beverages, just be like a nice day, and then people can write letters while they're at the event. There'll be a little table, and then they can directly give it to Nature Canada, who will then take them on the bus and go to Montreal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, is that going to be open to everybody?
Everybody, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't ironed out the details yet, but we will definitely be posting about it on our social media, which is UFB Wildlife Protection Club on Facebook, UFB Wildlife Protection Club on Instagram. We'll also be just sort of sending emails out to anyone that's on our email list.
How about you come back and talk about it when you've got all the details worked out?
That would be great. Yeah.
For sure.
We're kind of like, so it will definitely be on November 30th. But we are definitely in the early stages of planning because they just kind of contacted us a couple days ago.
I'm very excited. I think that's wonderful. But yeah, definitely have you back to talk about that.
Yeah,
so
that'd be great.
People can get involved.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I forgot to look at the camera there. I was just looking at myself. Yes. Oh, I'm just looking for my mouse here. So anyway, thank you for everybody. So this has been Molly Tilden, and she's been talking about the Wildlife Protection Club. And I hope you look it up and, anything like get involved. And it doesn't have to be in big ways, right?
Definitely.
Small little things, but this is our planet.
Yeah.
We're not going to go to another one, If we ruin this one, we have no place else to go. So let's get involved, get after the government, whatever way we need to. And anyway, and other than that, be nice, everyone, because it's free, and take care, and peace out.
Peace out.
Now we're going to find the off button. There we go.